Hey, what's up everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you another video. Alright, going to Hollywood for the first time in a little while. I've said that every time I've gone to Hollywood lately. I ain't done this trip too often at all this year. But yeah man, I kind of felt like it was a good day to kind of do the full thing, because I ran out of certain things and I really have not had any exercise outside of my normal routine, which is I don't even break a sweat doing it. So this will be an opportunity to get out and really do some sweating and hopefully start the process of having a more cardio-like summer for me, because this ain't how I want to move, man. Just staying in the house the way that I've been doing, eating Mexican food and stuff like that, just allowing the pounds to pile on, and while the exercise still comes, but it's like I ain't working off the carbs at all, man. So yeah, I want to slim down this summer if I can. Maybe try to drop maybe 15 pounds, nothing too serious, and get some weight off the knees. But yeah man, other than that, everything's smooth for me. You know, I was able to get the money transferred over, so hopefully I can have that in the account today in time to pay for my cell phone bill, or at least half of it. I got a payment that's supposed to be due today, and of course it didn't go through, but funds also cleared today, so I should be able to do that. Hopefully with what it is I still have left over, God willing, I'll be able to reserve the room as well for this upcoming Monday. So hopefully with that being the case, I shouldn't have any issues with just everything that I got going on. So yeah man, feeling pretty good. It's so much to talk about outside of my circumference. So many different things that have been going on. Prayers out to the people of Albania. From what I understand, Jared Kushner, who is Donald Trump's son-in-law, and their whole organization is trying to snatch up some land in Albania, tear down a bunch of stuff, and build up resorts. And the people of Albania are not happy about that, and so they're tearing the place up. From what I saw, they were attacking some representative of their country, whoever let the door in for this to happen. They went over to that man's house and started throwing Molotov cocktails on it, and it's letting off all types of what seemed like explosives over at that person's house, like just really doing their whole rebellion against this movement to take their land. And so prayers to the people of Albania. I think of y'all this morning. People of Palestine, people of Lebanon. Images coming out of Lebanon are still awful as hell, man. Still same old stuff that you're seeing in Gaza is the same old stuff that Israel's doing in Lebanon. All of the old plays that we've been seeing, it's all there, man. It's terrible. But I also been seeing a lot of IDF soldiers losing their lives as well. The resistance has been taking a bite out of them. Every day is a new one of them dying. And I just keep saying, man, y'all, no matter who you are, if you're fighting to align this colonial project with its wealth and continued domination, it's not a worthy cause to lose your life over. You know, I've been in situations as a security guard where I've been a part of groups that are meant to enforce intention. So I know what kind of conversations are being had behind the scenes, how a lot of those guys feel. I'm watching like these ICE agents pushing people around and, you know, doing the devil's work, essentially trying to silence these protesters in New Jersey and all over the world. And I see them lying alongside of one another and do the job. They're doing the job. And I just remember like the feeling of that when I was doing the job. Not necessarily that job. I'm never a nice agent or a cop, but like just knowing the type of personalities that were surrounding me. A lot of those dudes, they ex-military, they wanted to be military. Some of them are thrill seekers, others are family men. Some of them really care about humanity, others are just interested in getting a check and they're not very happy to begin with. Some of them are really troubled individuals, and this is how they get their lives together. It's how they keep from being on the streets and engaging in whatever it is they would engage in otherwise violently. It's how they harness all of that, all of those frustrations and rages and stuff like that. This is how they do it, by putting themselves in a uniform and being a part of a structure that can funnel a lot of that rage and a lot of that pain and a lot of that bloodthirst into something that can be considered productive, something that can be useful to themselves and their families. And that's what I see. You know, I've been seeing pictures of police officers, some of them female police officers. This one female police officer beating the hell out of this young kid outside of a school. She took him down and punched the hell out of him. That's a person with a whole lot of rage and frustration. You know, I think about athletes that I've seen that have that trait. Grayson Allen, back when he was in college, he loved seeing people in pain. He liked inflicting pain. And Ndamukong Suh, back in his playing days early on, when he had that reputation for inflicting excess pain on people. I think about people like Draymond Green. Although it's not said much, but he has that trait as well, where he tends to do more than necessary in regards to inflicting pain. Because they're capable of doing so and they enjoy hurting people, it comes out in some very unconstructive ways, despite them trying to harness it into what it is that they do sports-wise. It's a trait. And as my mother told me, I may have mentioned this on camera, my mother was a cop for 2 years in San Francisco. She told me that they've been doing this since she was a cop back in the 70s. And they target certain individuals that have certain traits so that they can enforce intentions without too many questions coming their way. We do this, we do that. Those people are considered the target. These are the culprits. This is how we handle them. This is the training. Engage in the training. But they're looking for people that ain't gonna ask too many questions. They're looking for people that ain't all there. They're looking for people that don't have the most humane way of looking at the world and the most gentle way of handling problems. They're looking for brutes. They're looking for people who are wired a certain way, who like to inflict pain. People who are wired a certain way, that want to go against the status quo, even if it means gathering with people who are intentional on pushing forward humanity. They're looking for people who are going to do the job. They're looking for people who hate people. Because you got to be crazy enough to kill somebody if it come to it. I guess awful, but it makes sense in a way too, because not everybody's wired for what it is that they do. In fact, most of us are not. We're not wired to pull a trigger just because they told us that these are the people we killing, and if a 9-year-old raises a gun to you to pull a trigger, not all of us are gonna do that. None of us should want to, but some of us are wired to just the same, and those are the people they want. Being the enforcers of this globe, being the enforcers of this supremacy, being enforcers of defense, or whatever you want to call it, whatever the righteous way of putting it would be. Because not all collection of soldiers are meant to do evil. It just seems like the ones that we see the most are doing that very thing these days, and have been for a long time. Those are the individuals that the rest of us need to reach. Those are the individuals that we need on our side, teaching our people what they know. What we lack is the training and enough people ready to defend us who are wired to do the difficult thing. Because a lot of the people who are brave enough to stand on the side of righteousness are not capable of winning these battles. They're not capable of organizing together with the intention of being brute where necessary. They're not trained to fight at all. They're trained to protect. They're trained to be peaceful. They're trained to be humane. They're trained to see the good in people. Those are not the people we need defending us against the people who are intentional on pushing forth the agenda of the enemy. That doesn't work against violence. Against people with that brute trait. Against people that like hurting people. This is the reality of it. Those who control this country have brute maniacs behind them, organized and well-trained in influencing others to collectively enforce their will. Men who can gather men and get them in a structured space alignment to push forth whatever the assignment. And because they're not wired to ask the right questions, because they're wired in a way that they're not all that right, because they're already broken individuals to begin with, because they're people who are probably evil on the inside in a lot of cases, they're not standing on the righteous side of history if not for someone coming together to inspire them to do so. The person who's violent is going to line up with who's going to empower them to be violent. Good people aren't going to empower you to be violent. Bad people are going to empower you to be violent. So they can't. Good people are not necessarily going to harness what it is that you are and push it into something that's productive so that you're not destroying yourself randomly without a cause. This gives those people a cause and a purpose. Military structures give those people a purpose other than to just be out here. With all of their rage, with all of their intentions and violence, without anything that would otherwise make it worth it to exist. People on our side, the good side, the side that's on the side of humanity, the side on the side of defending against all the evils in the world, need those people on our side. I don't know how you get them. I'm just telling you, I see what the equation is. As long as we can't defend ourselves effectively against violence, we're never going to be able to manifest the leverage necessary to force our will to do good, righteousness, to protect children, to bring balance to the earth and deteriorate supremacy. You need violence on your side, harnessed, ready to kill and die for your intentions. Just like these billionaires and these pedophiles have that very thing behind them all over the globe. It's leverage. Violence, unfortunately enough, is leverage. And because we, the good, are not engaging in that, or we think it's taboo or it's against who we are to engage in that, we don't have a chance in the fight we're in. And we've been guilt-tripped into thinking that we're wrong for thinking that, while the people who are imposing their will upon us have that as their greatest source of leverage. It's that they will harm you. It's that they will do weird things to you. It's that they will go further than you would ever take it against them. It's that they don't have anything governing them against that for which works. They will hurt this or that. They will do this and that. They will take it there. They will. You won't. And that's why you ain't winning against them. That's why they're able to instill their will upon you. You bringing a knife to a gunfight. Still doing what they need you to do to be successful in the game that they're playing. Let's vote. Today's a midterm day. Let's vote. They rigged all the damn elections. You can vote for the sake of hoping that I'm wrong when I say that, but the reality is you can clearly see they put who they want there and they remove who they want out. And you know what's able to enforce that leverage? Violence enforces that leverage. Violence. They engage in it. They believe in it. You don't. They have the upper hand every time. Because of it. They guilt trip you all this time into thinking that you're wrong or that you're a terrorist for engaging in what they engage in to enforce all of what it is that they do. It's the only thing they really have that's absolutely effective. That's the madness behind what it is that you see in the Zionists engage in all over the world. That's the madness. It's their leverage. It's the only thing that's effective. Nothing else is effective. Nothing else is truly going to be effective in forcing people to do what you want them to do. And so they engage in that, and then they push forth psyops on our heads and make us think that we're wrong for engaging in that. Make us think that we gonna get in some type of trouble for engaging in that behavior, when in actuality, that's the means to an end on both sides. If they effectively remove the violence from all of what it is that they do, the game is now played on our field and we win. The moral upper hand is with the people. The numbers are with the people. The truth is more comfortable in our mouths than in their ears. It's violence that they use to even the score. It's those who are wired a certain way that they are able to harness and place between them and us. And if you remove the presence of violence and the threat of violence from their side of the fence, they lose. It's what they got. And I'm telling you, man, I don't think that engaging in violence to get what you want is something that we should strive toward at all. But if you're dealing with a bully and he's beating you up every day, you are damn sure better defend yourself, or that violence that he's engaging in is going to overcome you every day and break you every day. At some point in time, you got to fight back. You got to make that person afraid of you to some degree, whatever degree. Make them think twice. Somehow that maybe coming at you is not something they should just do every day. When you're dealing with the local bully at school, or when you're dealing with the powers that be, it's the same thing, man. At some point in time, you have got to start fighting back. And that's what the Lord has put in my heart to tell all of us. You got to fight back, man. You got to fight back. You got to even the scales. So that when you do engage in kumbaya, you don't have a big bully, big ass dragon breathing fire on your head, trying to disrupt anytime you have some peace. Trying to stir up mess between you and the other people you're trying to get along with. I was listening to the real Godiva Goddess this morning on something she was saying was profound to me. She was essentially saying that what we need to do is compare the history of one another in our various different cultures and our various different degrees of, of clusters of human beings, so that we can compare what we've been through and start comparing notes and start understanding one another, not only historically but currently. Because a lot of us are going through the same thing. A lot of us handle life the same way. A lot of us engage in the same practices, just in different ways. We all enjoy music. We all enjoy art. We all pair colors. We all have ways that we doctor up our food that help define our culture. We have different cultures, but it's the same human experience. And we also have the same colonial intentions coming against us, looking to colonize us, pin us against our own people, have us destroying one another from the inside out, and ultimately handing over everything to them. Trying to put forth psyops on our heads, take our land away, make us feel like we're wrong for not supporting them in doing so. It's the same devil, both spiritually and in reality, as we see in the world right now. It's the same Zionists looking to pin everybody against everybody, have everybody fighting, dying for them, and guilt tripping everybody into their psyops for the sake of their own supremacy. And we're all wrong for not aligning with it. We're all wrong for not celebrating them as they do so. This is a perversion of reality and this disruption of peace, and it is enforced via violence. Because at the end of the day, they got people with guns who will force against any rebellion, people who are trained to fight and beat and brutalize, here to enforce their intentions. And that's what ultimately works most. Because we don't have to, if they don't put forth any violence against people, what else is going to make us honor what it is they got going on? You own this and what? We taking it. You want to harm us? Okay, then we have the means to put you away. We have the means, the numbers from which to neutralize you. It's your armies that you have that keep us in a position where we have to constantly react to that violence for which we're not prepared for in a lot of cases. Violence. It's what we're not wired for as a people. It's what they use against us because they understand that. It's not ownership. The psyops only work amongst some. That shit doesn't work. amongst enough of us. It's the violence that works. It's the presence of them feeling empowered to engage in violence versus us, 305, who are not necessarily ready for that. And so that's what I want to tell you guys, man. I don't believe that we should be engaging in violence against our own brothers. I don't think we should be looking to even up the score by harming children like they harming children. But I do think that we need to not allow violence to be something that we don't engage in when violence is being used against us to control us and force us into being people that we do not want to be. People who are comfortable with pedophilia, people who are comfortable with people stealing other people's land, people comfortable with genocide, people comfortable with racial supremacy, religious supremacy, and all these different things. It's violence that allows for them to force that on you. Violence. All that other stuff, it may work, it may not work. The psyops, the propaganda, it may work, it may not work. It's a toss-up. Maybe it works. It works on the dumb. It works on the easily influenced and the people on the verge of being broken. But those of us who are sane, it's violence that ultimately enforces that. It's the threat of bodily harm and the threat of life being lost is what enforces those things into existence amongst the strong. Amongst the strong-willed and the strong-spirited. It is violence that they use to keep us moving in the direction that they want us to go and to snuff out those of us who would be strong enough to influence others better than their propaganda is able to. It's violence. And so what I'm telling everybody and what I'm hoping that I'm gathering everybody to understand is there's a time and a place for that. And it's not all the time. When there's no Zionist entity looking to destroy us all and pin us against one another and have us being violent toward one another, we do not need to be solving problems with violence. Violence should be the absolute last resort. You destroy societies with violent intentions. You don't build them that way. But when you have an entity that's looking to destroy you, using violence as a means of doing so, it's violence that's going to get them off your ass. It's violence that's going to give you the leverage to have your will intentions be done, to keep them honest. And without that, on either side, the side that's trying to be nonviolent is the side that ultimately don't have their will being done. I don't like this. I don't think God likes this. I don't think that's the solution for all of our problems. I don't think it's a solution for a good portion of our problems. But this problem, Zionist supremacy problem, yeah. Yes, it is the problem. That is ultimately what I found God is telling me to share with all of y'all. As I pray about this and I ask for some answers, something that works. As I'm watching these people kill children all over the world and rig governments all over the world, making my brothers and my cousins and my neighbors scared for their lives and all of this, making people who come into this game intentional on doing good things and ultimately get turned out by the presence of their fears that they place upon these people and the nonsense that they place upon a lot of our government officials to force them into doing their will. It's a blink twice situation when I look at some of these government officials. I don't like what I see. I think they're sellouts, but there has to be something very compelling that would make them do so. In a lot of cases, man. Some of them are enriched in this nonsense. They come from these places and they're over here with the intention of doing the will because they're evil at heart. Others, I think, have been put through something that we will never know about that would ultimately make them, without wavering, aligned with what it is that we see that disgraces them, disgraces their name, disgraces their representative people, and all of that shit. And I'm starting to think that they've done things to some of these people that would break them in ways that we will never find out because no one's ever going to tell us. And that's why they still stand on the hill the way that they do, aligning with this nonsense, because they have been broken and put into a terrified, petrified state. to where the only thing they have the power to do is exactly what it is they're supposed to do to align with those who put them in that state. That's what I'm starting to have the notion of. And I also pray about this. That's what the Lord is putting in my heart. Like, yo, some of these people that are selling out, they've had stuff done to them, bro. Stuff that you don't even think of, stuff that you know the evil one is willing to do, but they have not quite seen evidence of him actually doing. My imagination goes places, but you know, who knows? All of that's just like empty speculation. The point is, something is compelling a lot of these people. Some aspects of this circumstance is probably very compelling to these people. And they're moving because they feel like that's the only thing they could do. Let me tell you. And I look at our previous president, Joe Biden. Genocidal maniac. No one's going to argue that ever. I watched him throughout the course of the beginning of the genocide continue to give money to Israel to do this shit over and over and over again. And then I see a conversation had between Candace Owens and his son. And I come to realize how decent of a human being his son is. Decent, reasonable human being. Sat there and listened to him for 2 hours. He passed all the tests. He's solid. Trouble, solid. Good guy. If you telling me that this man, the president, knows his son is a good guy and they have said, yo, we're going to do this unreasonable stuff to him. If you don't align with what it is that we're doing, and not only that, but look at all the other things that we can do so that if you don't capitulate, we'll do all this to your son and still get done what we're going to do. What does a father do if that's what's going on there? Like, we're going to do crazy stuff to this dude. Killing him would be a mercy to compare to what it is that we're willing to do to this man. If you don't align with what it is we're doing. If you don't do exactly what it is that we're telling you to do, his life is going to be ridiculously painful, and we're going to make sure it lasts forever. Like, that type of stuff is like, yo, all he going to do is exactly what you say. And he'll allow himself to look like the worst guy in the world, allow himself to have his whole everything structured, torn to the ground in the face of public opinion, tear his legacy down, all that, because he's not going to let his good-hearted son be faced with the creative and this difficult and ugly wrath of an intention that is all powerful any damn way. That's very compelling, don't you think? Very compelling. And you look at the reach of these evil bastards, this octopus that I've called them many times. Yeah, they can find other ways of getting things done and still do to your son whatever it is they come to mind with if you don't do what they tell you to do. All they're going to do is approach the next guy or the next gal with that same proposition. They're either going to do what we say or we're going to do this here. And you're afraid of that. So what you going to do? Like, that's the type of stuff that I believe the Lord is putting in my heart to tell you that's happening to some of these government officials, some of these celebrities, some of these influential people, some of these influencers. They're moving in a way that is highly, highly compelling. They've been hit with threats and different things that we don't even realize are being thrown at them, because if they were to tell us that, then ultimately that stuff can come to pass. Some of these politicians that were once not really on the side of this nonsense, they didn't like these people and all. They turn, you know, they've hit a whole 180 and now they gung-ho for them. Yeah, something compelling took place. Some of it might have been blackmail. I'm sure that's compelling enough. You're a guilty party. They know what you did. They're going to expose it. But I think it's a combination of many of those types of things that they push upon people. And we're going to do this, and we're going to do this to them, and we're going to do this to you, and then we're going to get what we're going to get done anyway, because we can go to the next person and do the same thing with them. It's not just the $7,000 that they're offering up some of these people. It's take $7,000 or take on these intentions that we have that are very compelling to get you to move how we want you to move. We know what you did last summer. We know who the good person is in your life. We know who this person is. We know how much you love your dog. We can compel you in extremes in either direction. We can make all your dreams come true. Make sure that we promise you everything that we're going to promise you. One way or another. Do what we say because we're all powerful. And you see that. Look how many people we have doing our bidding. You're going to be the only one that ain't. Suffering the ills that come with that. It's very compelling. Very compelling. Some of them probably resisted a little bit and got spanked around for it. Got spanked around for it. You see how willing they are to engage in different things that are just abhorrent to all of us, just despicable to all of us. When you hear about the practices that they engage in against the prisoners in their land, against the flotilla members and the stuff that they've been doing. I've been hearing the horror stories that are coming now from those latest flotilla members who were captured and then later released, as they continue to increase their intentions of harm against those people. The more and more they come, the more harsh they treat the people that they capture. And then I look at my local politician. What they do to you? What do they do to you? How many different areas of pressure do they place upon your head that compelled you to do exactly what you're doing? Throwing your entire legacy away, throwing your entire reputation down the toilet. How could they have compelled you to fall on the sword for them? It's time. It's time for all of us to start asking these type of questions in a different way. Have these things on the forefront of our minds when looking at some of these puppets that they control, because they are very, very evil in regards to what they're willing to do to get what they want. Some of these people that are gung-ho passionate about Israel, gung-ho passionate about Zionism, gung-ho passionate about anti-Semitism and all these different made-up things, are probably very compelled by things and traumas that we ultimately would be compelled in regards to as well. When we get to the root of that, we can snatch away some of that leverage that they use. You crack open the treasure chest on some of those secrets, you start taking back some of your leverage in regards to what they use. Because how many of y'all are strong enough to let your good loved one die? To be threatened with sexual violence? To be threatened with whatever the hell else they can come up with? Some of y'all would die on that damn sword and do whatever the hell they tell you to do. And we'd be looking at you the same way. We have got to take back our leverage in life, good people. Whoever you are, if you're a good human being, it doesn't stand for racial supremacy, specifically Zionist and white supremacy. If you don't stand for any of that, and you don't like seeing brown babies die, you don't like seeing brown babies mutilated, we got to find a way to think smart in regards to taking back our leverage. We need to start asking the right questions, having the right conversations, disciplining ourselves properly to keep our leverage in life individually so that we're not easily compromised. We got to get better at fighting this entity, this enemy of God, this enemy of humanity, this enemy of peace, this enemy of truth. And we got to know when it's time to stop doing what they tell us to do. Stop capitulating to their guilt trips. And you're a bad guy if you fight me while I'm killing you. Only good people lay down and let us do the evil things to them. That's how you be a responsible citizen. By celebrating us as we're doing things that terrify and harm others. that evil shit. We need our leverage back from that. This ain't just about taking back our country. This is preventing genocide in places where genocide has never been seen before. Because you best believe these assholes gonna want more of that. And as I told you yesterday, I'll tell you today. There's nothing keeping them from merging armies everywhere and then harming the people across the borders of the lands that they occupy everywhere. They repeat behaviors on multiple layers of the spectrum. And I'm telling you, we need to start seeing some of that coming too. They want to make it illegal for a person to tell the truth about them. That lack of accountability is something that doesn't work for humanity on no level, not on their level or anyone else's. You walk yourself into mistakes when you only surround yourself with yes men. You coerce yourself into unreasonable confidences when the only people that you have around you are people that agree with you. They're gonna step into some shit by trying to force everyone into aligning with everything that they do as if they don't make mistakes, as if they don't have miscalculation mistakes, or as if they don't have individuals that won't defect within their structures of agreement. You need accountability to help you see clearly, and those who don't desire to see clearly will be stumbling over things they do not see. Zionists, if nothing else, is an unwise and overly arrogant entity of the enemy of God. And it is bound to make mistakes. Though it does not realize it, it needs people who are willing to defy it and tell it the truth to help it keep from making some of those mistakes that ultimately this side is not going to force it into. It's going to stumble over things that it placed in front of itself. And that's what I'm telling all of you. It's going to make mistakes. You keep watching this entity. It's going to make mistakes. It's going to forget where it put certain things. And it's going to hurt itself stumbling over those things that it placed somewhere and forgot it did. You just keep watching. Because it believes itself to be all powerful, never making any mistakes, above reproach. And believe me, resistance in the form of human beings and sentiment is not the only thing that can structurally deteriorate your process. When you put too much of an emphasis on controlling others and not controlling yourself, you still find yourself at risk for deterioration. Are they trying to snuff out the truth? Sometimes it's the person that doesn't like you that can tell you where you're making mistakes. Sometimes it's the person on the wrong side of you that'll tell you where you're messing up. And it's a lack of wisdom within them that don't allow for them to see that. They're always trying to snuff out people who will tell them, yo, stop doing this. This ain't right. We're unhappy with this behavior. We don't want to see this. This is not what's right for any of us. You could learn something from those people, Zionists. You can learn a lot from those people. But you would have none of that because your supremacy effectively stiff arms all reason, all wisdom. And so you are destined to run into the wall that you created for yourself by being that way. Just like any other narcissist that ever lived. And the humility, the embarrassment that comes from him making a mistake and everybody watching it and rooting against him. People resent him because of his disregard for them. I'm telling everybody, man, anybody that listen to me, they're going to try to make it so that people like myself are absolutely and utterly just the worst people in the world. They are trying to write it in the law that everything I just said deserves a death sentence or something like that. So that they don't have to deal with scrutiny, and so that they do not have to deal with truth. They don't value truth and all of the fruit that comes with it. But they should. That's the difference between something that's aligning with a living God and something that's at war with a living God. A thing that's at war with a living God doesn't have his guidance. It doesn't have his guidance. And so I tell all of y'all, man, a lot of us, we just godless in a lot of cases. We just believe in nothing, believe in money, believe in force, believe in violence, all of that stuff. That is not God, man. That ain't God. When the weather gets too hot or too cold, then you understand how much power you don't have. When the tsunamis come from all angles and overtake the entire lands and all of the things that you've built are now underwater, then you understand you're not God. When multiple things that come about organically that wipe out societies come about at the same time, then you understand you're not God. Then you understand these people are not God. And 8 and 9 different COVIDs come and hit you all at once, then you understand your ass ain't God. That's the problem with these people, man. They don't really, that part is not really, they don't get that. They don't really get that. And all of what it is they're trying to do and trying to play God, they really don't see all the angles, man. They don't have the ability to make the best decisions. Humanity is flawed in the sense that it's still evolving. We're still developing. The arrogant man believes that he's fully evolved, that he's fully developed, that everything he decides is what is good and what is true, and everything that he's going to do is going to work. It is until he sees what he does not work does he understand his limitations in a lot of cases. And the powers that be, those who are trying to compel all of us to do what they are doing, want us to do, that's how they operate. Like they don't think they can make mistakes, and even if they do make mistakes, they think they can figure it out without any help. And that's going to be their undoing. Video 44, I thank y'all for watching.